Hey guys, welcome to the inaugural episode of Space Engineers. This game is a game by Keen Software House. You might remember them for the Minor Wars 2081, I believe that's the year, 2081. Maybe it's 2087, I don't know. Regardless, it's Minor Wars. And it was a game that had a lot of like voxel-based destruction of asteroids and ships and story about how all the planets got exploded and now they're mining resources from all different kinds of places in space, and you had to dodge solar flares, and it was one of those like 6 Degrees of Freedom, super cool kind of games, kind of like Descent. Space Engineers, however, is that version in a sandbox game. Many of you have probably already heard of it, but for those of you who haven't, this is a space sim sandbox player's dream. You'll probably see in the background there's like a little engineer guy, and he's like building these ships with these tools and stuff, and all of that is planned to be in this game. But what they have now is kind of like just like the bare bones sandbox. This was released very late last year, 2013. Happy New Year, by the way. But we will look here. Sorry, that was my Google Hangouts. But we will look here, and we will see just a few things that this game has to offer. I'll show you a ship build that I am working on, and we will get to that in just a minute. Hey guys, welcome back. We are in, this is a custom world that I made, or just an empty one, doesn't have any other, like the tutorial level stuff and all that. It's just this ship. Let me put the HUD on. This has taken me probably 30-40 hours to build. The symmetry options in this game are really cool. As you can see here, I have an X-axis symmetry on, so apparently early when this game was first released, it wasn't an option to do that. Everything had to be built completely by hand, so I'm very slow when I'm building. Sorry about that, guys. Again, it's really, it's really funny. I have, while I'm on break and all that, I have lots of time to, to do things and to get things done, a lot of uninterrupted time. And the second I want to make a video, without fail, I get like 7 interruptions. It's just, I guess it's just part of the deal, so you guys will have to bear with it. But I'm just trying to give you like a really big overview of this craft. This is actually based on a DeviantArt. He's actually a game artist. This is actually from an RTS. I think he said it's an unannounced one, so I don't know what this is going to be for, but it's going to be like a top-down RTS, so you'll probably be seeing the craft somewhat like this rather than the other way. But it's called the Battleship Sentinel. I'm going to put this on the Steam Workshop for those of you who have the game, so if you guys want to fly it around. And they haven't enabled these weapons yet. Let me get rid of this. They haven't enabled like the turrets and all that yet, but I'm pretty sure they will soon. There's no multiplayer out yet, but again, something that's coming soon. But I've been working on this for tens of hours. I'm fairly happy with it. It's a little bit difficult. Like anything like really curved in this game to make is very difficult, and then you need a lot of parts for it, which also will throw off your scale a bit. I made this, just using the other version of it as a reference. But let's go ahead right in. I have some secret compartment doors. I'm going to turn off the jetpack so we're like plop. Okay, so walking around here, I'll use shift to run around. This is like one of the front entrances. Try to make it so that boarders, like people who are going to come on the ship and all that, might not know exactly where the entry points are without creating a hole, and I'm hoping that these turrets will help with that. So let's go right through here. Have a cargo container. It's kind of like an airlock, so for role-playing purposes, maybe there's like a suit in here that you would wear. Saving, okay. This is the interior. I've added some lights pretty much only in sections that are either exits or windows. So this is like the window of the other area that we saw before. I'll go back over here first. This is an area with a refinery, a conveyor, and an assembler, so I'm sure this is like where you would refine ore into materials. And then I don't know if you'll need a conveyor, but I pop one on anyway, to an assembler, which I'm pretty sure is basically like your version of a crafting table in this game. Again, none of it's implemented yet. So I'll go ahead, use that just in case. Maybe I'll add some cargo containers up there, so that if there's any ship repairs that need to be done, you can make the parts for them. This is the medical room in the game, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be like a spawn point, or maybe a place where you can get extra health if they implement that system, and some cargo containers, kind of like an armory. Also in here I made a secondary exit to the back of the ship right here. So there's 4 entry points. The ship is mostly symmetrical, so there's not going to be too many surprises along that. It is starting to get to the point where I get lost in here pretty easily because I add a lot of walls and I'm trying to compartmentalize it a bit. So here now we're more towards the center. Actually, this is the exact center line of the ship. There's some automatic turrets here. Again, those are not activated quite yet. Hopefully they like automatically home on like maybe people of a certain faction that you set as an enemy. Again, that's just speculation on my part. Here's a command chair. I added these upside down ramps to give it a little bit more aesthetic value, make it a little more imposing looking in here. Along the sides there are some broken gyroscopes, which is awesome. I moved the engines and I had some gyroscopes attached to them, so that was cool. I'm gonna have to fix that at some point. But yeah, more and more of these things just keep flying off. You'll probably see some damage here, some buckling. Yep, there's some buckling over there. I'll be fixing all of that before I release anything. Yeah, there's another dent there. Some more damage. This is lovely. Just so much damage going on around here. This is the back of the ship. This is kind of like the engineering wing. Go around here for a minute. I don't think there's particularly anything interesting here. This section is the only part that's really not finished quite yet. I don't like the idea, I guess for role-playing purposes, of having the exposed armoring, but I figure if it's an engineering area, maybe it's okay. But over here we have a reactor. Kind of they can access the reactor if there's anything wrong with it. There's a gravity generator over here. If we go back through here, these are the nacelles, the engine nacelles that are on the side. Again, because it's an engineering area, I don't mind that there's some exposed metal from the outside. But I know that does potentially put the ship at a disadvantage as far as defense is concerned. The ship, for as imposing as it looks, is pretty fragile. There's a warhead weapon in the game right here. They've also enabled small ship weapons, and some of the tests that I've done with that, not particularly pretty. This could easily be vented into space. I'm just kind of walking around here. I'll explain more about what these areas are later. The reason I have so many command chairs is because I don't really want it to be that obvious, like, oh, the bridge on this ship, for example, is extremely exposed. There are no reflector shields that are in the game yet. Just gonna take a breather here for a second. This is the exact front of the ship, kind of like the bow, and I added some gyroscopes here to help with turning. But as I was saying before about these, a lot of these areas are very vulnerable, so if some of them get destroyed, I don't want to have just one command chair area and then have to scramble to place another one down. So this leaves some options where there can be different pilots in different areas at the center of the ship. This is like a 2-story reactor chamber area that I've added. So it's coming along really nicely on the inside, but it's definitely much more exterior complete. This is another spawn room with some automatic turrets, just in case, we want to protect those vital areas in case there are borders or there's other kinds of problems that are going on. Let's see where I'm going to go now. I think I'd rather go back toward the center of the ship. If we go over here towards the middle, there's a staircase down here that leads basically to another front of the ship. I like how this looks. Had I been thinking with a little bit more foresight, I probably would have reinforced this whole area, because I think these are sturdier than these interior walls. These interior walls look really sturdy, but they are they're like paper. They bend really easily, they break really easily, they have no defense. I'm hoping when they add heavy armor, there's a way for me to actually, maybe with a config file or an ini file, replace all the light armor blocks that I'm making this with heavy armor blocks. So if we go up here, here's another area that's in the engines. Go up here. I mean, I've tried to make it so that you can access both levels of the ship fairly easily because it's a very tall ship. And here we are again in the engine area. Again, I'm going to go ahead back towards the middle of the ship, and I'm going to take you into the command bridge. We go over here, and instead of going downstairs, we can go upstairs through this main area. This is back towards the center area. This is like the sanctum of the ship. It's the best protected area. I also try to add a little bit extra with these turrets. I can't wait for doors actually to be implemented. I think that'll add a lot to the immersion factor. If we go over here around this corner, this is bridge access, the main command module. Added a turret here just in case boarders get here. There's a little bit of protection, but due to the placement of objects like these lights, you can't place something else that's taking up a block. So this is basically where you control the ship from. This is just the bottom level of the deck because in the drawings of the Battleship Sentinel, I think the author's name is Karanak, if you want to check that out. He has a lot of amazing designs, and I mean, even this isn't really doing justice to his talents. So I'll definitely be crediting him if I put this on the Steam Workshop, which I'm really planning on doing pretty soon. So this is kind of like that first level, and then this is the top level. Kind of gives the best view. I really hope they change these windows because I really don't like the slatted window effect. I think it should be glass instead. So these are like hideous. I hate them. So if we go over here, if you press T in front of the cockpit, it'll tell you if you have the HUD on. This is basically the ship. I'm fairly happy with this. I mean, you could probably recognize this as the Battleship Sentinel if you know his work. I'll turn the HUD on so that you can see how fast this goes. So it accelerates very slowly, even with all of these engines here. Now, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to the interior of this ship. I probably should have turned off auto-saving because of those free-floating gyroscopes. It's going to wreak havoc. But yeah, these are the reverse thrusters. I tried not to change the design so much to the point where I had to add extra thrusters where they didn't have any on the ship. I had to do that a little bit here, like with those front thrusters, and you can see it very slow braking. It actually can't go in reverse if you're using inertial dampening. It actually uses those more. You get more power out of them when you're doing that, but if I'm actually trying to actively reverse, it won't be able to do that. Same with sides. I think I can actually dampen the side like lateral movement. I can manually control not pitch, but upward and downward translation. Pitch and yaw and all those kinds of things is controlled by the gyroscopes. If I go here for a second, I'm going to disable this, and I'm going to start rotating it. Now it actually rotates extremely quickly for a ship of its size. I mean, the fact that I'm able to kind of move it around as quickly as possible almost makes it seem like just kind of like a heavy fighter. So it can actually rotate unrealistically fast for its size, but I think where the balance comes in is I'm not moving the mouse right now, and it has not stopped spinning. I actually have to provide some overcorrect by like turning in the opposite direction in order to slow it down at any appreciable degree, and it's actually very hard to control once you get it really close, because if you move it a little bit, it's very sensitive. Trying to now use Q and E to kind of roll it around, and it's very hard to stop, but yeah, I hit T again. I will of course be making a video that shows off the destruction capabilities. Like I might pop in some fighters and take pot shots at it. I also have an older version of this ship, which I still think is worth looking at because the exterior is mostly complete, and I rigged the interior with warheads, which explode not only on contact with fast objects, including the player, but they will also explode with machine gun fire. Missile fire obviously would explode them, so I like lined the entire thing with it, and the explosions and destructions in this game are just beautiful. Like, that's actually the top part of this game for me. Why I bought it is I saw the trailer. I mean, just all of this just deforms. It's incredible. The game that Keen Software House is making right now, the fact that it's in an amazingly playable state right now, despite the fact that it's in like early alpha, compared to a lot of games that are right now in beta that are nigh unplayable, or I know it's a completely different kind of game, but Starbound, that's another game that I'll be featuring on my channel once they get a little bit beyond the constant wiping that they're doing, a lot of the early balance issues. Once they get the polish up a little bit more, I'm actually, it was one of my most anticipated games, but I'm actually not all that impressed with it right now, which I find shocking because of how hyped I was for it. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it a video here. I may add a little bonus section onto the end of this, or make it a different video where we start crashing this. We load it up into worlds that are populated, and we just wreak as much havoc as we can with this. I also can't wait until they enable the weapons, so I can start attacks on like space stations. It's going to be awesome. So leave a like if you liked, and see you next time, guys.